back live in the studio here, 648-5510. The program is Viewpoint. Our guest this morning is Angie Stoltzenburg. And this young lady would make a great circus juggler, Mrs. Busby. She's got a lot of balls in the air, for goodness sakes. I'm really staggered by the scope of the impact that you have in the county. I had no cognizance at all of the many programs that you administer there. How many do you have on staff out there, Angie?
We have about 150, 160.
Really?
Between all of our programs in all of our counties. Mm-hmm.
Well, it takes a big bean counter just to keep to juggle the figures. Now, I don't mean juggle the figures in that sense of the word. I mean to be accurate. There's just an awful lot of logistics involved here.
Sure. With the stimulus dollars in 2010, we were about at $10 million coming in, and of course that's going to go down significantly this year.
Yes, yeah. Well, this is a sleeper organization, and as far as I, seriously, I suspect to the average listener out there, they had no cognizance at all of the depth of what's going on out there at this office.
We try not to be a secret, but the reality is with community action is most people only know about us because they need us, and that's not what we want. We want everybody to know about us because, number one, we need everybody to support us financially, with volunteerism and all that, but we also need people who are in a new situation to know that we're here if they need assistance.
Let's say a word about volunteers, if I may. For instance, would you need volunteers to drive? Or do you have to have qualified people? Certainly, I suspect there's a criteria there. But the average, like a codger like me, go out and pick somebody up in New Holland or Burtonville or wherever. How do volunteers help you?
Well, we use volunteers for a variety of things. In our Head Start classrooms, we can always use volunteers. We can use volunteers at our corporate office, our outreach office, where we have the food pantry and
Meals on Wheels.
Definitely need volunteers to help deliver meals for seniors. We would use volunteers to work at our congregate sites. We always are asking volunteers to come and do entertainment. We're starting, we just yesterday had our second, are you interested in entertaining?
Do my old soft shoe.
Dust off your dancing shoes.
That's what we need. We have our congregate sites, and yesterday we started one actually at our corporate office on 5th Street. Once a month we have like a soup and salad buffet for seniors. So again, no income requirements, just 60 or older. And we had a jazz duo perform last month, and next month we're hoping to have a handbell choirs.
And they're being held where are these events being held?
Being held at 1800 5th Street, our corporate office off of 5th Street.
You know where that is?
Right next to TNT Trailer, kind of behind Logan Lanes there.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're always hoping for volunteers who are willing to either help coordinate that or be an entertainer. Or
well, I'd like to make a suggestion to some of the folks out here in the airways. There are a lot of us who have been blessed with pretty decent health, and it's an opportunity maybe to put something back. My old expression, to put something on the bar beside your elbow. So if there are any folks out there who are in pretty good health and would like to, it'd help you get involved and stay involved. And if you stay involved, maybe you'll stay a little sharper up here.
Really?
That's not a given, but certainly it helps. So I'd like to put out a plea to some of the, at my age, I think I'm starting to withdraw from volunteering a little bit. But there are a lot of folks that are a little bit younger and that still have a lot going. So think about that. And you can get in touch with Angie Stoltzenburg, and that number would be?
732-2159.
I just have to ask one question about, do you still have the foster grandparent program?
Yes.
And you use them at your Head Start and so forth?
We actually place those they're actually volunteers, but they have their income eligibility requirements because they receive a stipend for doing the volunteerism. They are placed in a variety of places. We've had them placed in high schools before. They get placed in any kind of school, any not-for-profit daycare, Head Start centers. Yeah.
That's a wonderful program. Do you think we should get back to the transportation issue?
Well, sure. There's enough to talk about there, and I hope that there's enough interest out there that they want us to talk
listen,
about.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. I can't foresee a problem in
Yeah.
that at all. Are you going to have, like, for instance, when I grew up, we had the Twin City Rapid Transit Company, you know, that ran the buses all over the cities.
Was that the Conestoga wagons?
It was Conestoga wagons, were driven by a mule, pulled by mules or oxen, and they had their stops and they had their schedule. Now, are you going to be able to have something like that, or is it just going to be kind of a shirky-toot that if I called you and
Could I have a definition of the word shirkatoot? I don't know if I can commit to that.
if I just have an appointment tomorrow, I call you and you hope that there are other people you can pick up around my
Yes.
house and
Yeah.
take them someplace too?
There, you know, it'll evolve, but the reality is rural transportation isn't something that's going to be a route. You know, people think of when you think public transportation, you immediately think of Chicago with a bus.
Yeah.
And that's not what rural transportation is. It's going to be, we want you to call at least 24 hours ahead of time, and you
Right.
can call less than
reasonable.
that, but, you know, we can't promise you anything. We can't even promise you anything for 24 ahead of time. It just
Sure.
depends on how the demand goes. But, you know, we require some advance notice, and then we'll just come to your house, and then we'll take you wherever you need to go and pick you up and take you back home.
But if I did call you for something 24 hours hence, you told me, yes, that would be fine, you would be there, then you really will.
Well, yeah, we better be there. IDOT's going to have a problem with us, and so is the Logan County Board if we're not.
Yeah, because, you know, like I might have to get to work. you know.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that makes me feel much better.
Yeah. There's actually a really neat routing software system. We're trying to use those banked dollars I talked about.
Yes.
You're able to use those for startup funds, and we're going to try to talk to IDOT tomorrow about buying that routing software because it really helps you use your vehicles as efficiently as possible. It puts a GPS tracking on all your vehicles so you can see where they
Yes.
are. You can even see how fast they were driving. It's a great
Really?
great
And I
thing.
suppose it's pricey.
Of course it is pricey.
Yeah, no doubt.
it was actually around $90,000 to get all your vehicles equipped. But once you're in it, you know, you only pay a maintenance.
Well, yes, but you know, you could probably save that in the long haul
That's what we
by being able to be a little bit efficient.
Sure. We think so. When you really look at how we operate now, we could use that now. And so
Really?
we,
Yeah.
so we expect that with the demand and going even more toward Mason County than we do now, then it would definitely come in handy. But you want me to talk dollars a little bit for you?
Absolutely.
Sure, I like dollars.
People like money, so let's talk about money. Because if we hadn't, I look at it this way: if we hadn't pursued this, these are dollars and resources that would have been lost to these counties. And it's things like this that I think this is a lot of work. And I'm not saying that in a way to toot my own horn. I'm just saying this is a lot of work, and it would have been
We'll
really
toot that for you,
easy.
kid.
Well,
Yeah,
it would have
you
been
bet.
really easy to say, forget it. You know what? We've got our plates full. But when you do things like that, you don't move the county forward where it needs to go, and you miss out on opportunities for the folks who live here. So I think it was really important, and I'm really excited that Mason County and Logan County boards stepped up, and that Logan County was willing to be the lead county to move on and give this a shot. We're going to do the best we can. We will receive between Logan and Mason County every year about $130,000, which again, think about what I said before. It costs $160 just to do senior transportation right now. But we're going to get $130,000 and some change every year from that Section 5311 money. We've got 2 years of that already banked up waiting for us. So, over $250,000 waiting for us to be able to spend on maybe buying new vehicles or that software I talked about, or equipment and computers and all the things you need to do that. Then you have to match those dollars. Those Section 5311 dollars actually cover 80% of your administration expenses and 50% of your operating expenses. So here we go again, needing to have matched money.
Yes.
But the beautiful thing is the area agency money that I talked about before, that $45,000, that can count as matched money. The money that Community Action receives right now as a United Way recipient for
Yes.
transportation, that counts as matched money. So we're not too worried about the matching side of things. And then the program needs to expand and grow by creating service contracts. And actually, when we went to break, we were talking about what are some ways that we could, raise revenue, and what are some organizations we could work with to maybe serve their clients for them. And we have talked to some local agencies about the fact that they're already providing transportation to the people that they serve, and so maybe eventually the system could provide that transportation instead, and they could pay the system for it, and it would be cost effective for them. It would be income to the system, and then that would count for match money. So the other thing that's very exciting is that we are a brand new system, but it's already been made into law that we've been earmarked, Logan and Mason counties, for what's called dope money, which was described in one...
Excuse me.
It was described in one...
I thought we were anti.
It was described in one article as drug money, which was not the case. Dope is DOAP.
Oh, misspelled.
It's called it's Downstate Operating Assistance Program.
Okay.
Another acronym.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So it is not drug money. It is Downstate Operating Assistance Program, and those dollars have been earmarked for transportation in Logan and Mason counties. $320,000 of dope money has been allocated for Logan and Mason County.
And from which dope do you get this money?
From the state of Illinois. Yes.
Ah.
Well,
And
good
so-
luck there.
Positive and a negative. Positive is that's a lot of money. Negative is that it will only reimburse 65% of your expenses.
Yeah.
So here we go again with the
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
And let's face it.
Can you use
state
the
of-
same money for a match for more than one program?
The dope. We're getting into the complicated part of it. The dope money, the state of Illinois money, can be used to match the federal money, the Section 5311 money, which is very odd, but it's
Okay.
It's kind of a little cat.
Who's on first?
Yeah, really. Amen and
So
amen.
this is and again, this is why part of me thinks why are we doing this?
You
We're
must have been
little
a
crazy.
straight A student all through your education.
No, and I'm getting interviewed locally, so there are teachers out there that know better than that. But anyway, that's
Well, they'd
the
be
plan.
proud of you.
Well, so the downstate operating assistance dollars, that's very exciting that we have those dollars available to us. But again, that's a big risk Community Action's taking, because in the agreement with Logan County Board, we took the risk on as an agency. We said we'll find the match. We'll make this happen one way or another, and we all know state of Illinois is not paying their bills on time. So that dope money sounds great, but it's a risk for the agency because we're going to have to somehow figure out a way to float that until we get reimbursed.
I have to ask you, at the risk of once again being a wet blanket, can you count on this not only for 2011, but like, say, into 2012?
I can only say that we've been told and reassured over and over again that this is a sustainable funding source.
I always worry about these funds because the government thinks it's biblical. It giveth and it taketh away.
Yes. And that's what Community Action is very well aware of.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're taking it away quite a bit.
Yes.
And I'm scared to know what they taketh away in the FY12. So
Yes.
We'll just I figure, I don't know, my personal philosophy is you just can't really operate out of that fear, and you move forward, and if it goes away, then but we've been told this Section 5311 has actually, it's supposed to increase on an annual basis, although they have already stopped doing that. We've been told it's a sustainable funding source because this is a very important initiative, so they say.
Well, Social Security and Medicare, of course, were like that too,
Yeah,
don't you know?
absolutely.
You're not too worried about that yet, but
Well,
Bill and I,
I've already
it's
given up
real.
on it. For me, it's probably not even going to be an option.
See,
so.
that's why I
unfortunate,
just really do worry about anything like this. But,
Yeah.
like you said, if you don't take a flyer, you'll never make any strides.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that you're running that program instead of me for myriad reasons.
Judith K., envy is a bad trait, but my eyes are green with envy with the adroitness with this young lady
Amen.
handling these programs out there. I'm very impressed with the depth of service that you folks render out there, and I take my hat off to you for the administration and management of it. We appreciate very much your being with us, green eyes notwithstanding. And
On both of us.
Again, might suggest before we close that, and thank Angie Stoltzenburg very, very much for her presence today. There may be some folks out there with some time on their hands. Old Joe's is a nice place, but don't spend all your time there. Go out and volunteer somewhere. With that, we'll close with a Thomas Jefferson quote. Many, had he said, this is an excellent one. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Thank you for Viewpoint.